You know, when Cell said everyone could do it, I didn't exactly take that literally. Before we get into this review of Chapter 80 of Dragon Ball Super, please do me a favor, leave your own listen chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come with the channel. Also, we do have a Patreon down below. If you have anything that you could lend or give me some support, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got a pencil here, and here we are, review Chapter 80 of Dragon Ball Super, which is known as Gas vs. Granola Part 2, aka Granola, the Awakening of Broly. I don't know, this chapter is weird, but let's just hop right into it. So you see that Gas and Granola, you know, they're still throwing hands, and like, I'll give Toyotaro this. He draws pretty decent action, like, but that's the thing. Like, there's nothing of substance to it, right? Because like we see that while Gas is kind of annoyed that obviously Granola can instant transmission him left, right, and center, like out of Granola or Gas's skill range, he's like, fine, I'll figure it out eventually. And of course, you'd think it would be like some intense way that they figure it out, but all Gas does, he punches the ground, throws some rocks up everywhere, blitzes at Granola instant transmissions away, then Gas fires I-beams, which was cool. That was a good reference. I'm not sure, no, Gas hasn't done that yet. Or, yeah, I don't think that's a thing that he can do, but Frieza does that. So, it's cool to see I-beams. Frieza and, I think, Namekians? I think, well, to be fair, anyone can do it, I'm pretty sure. But the two guys I remember doing it the most are, like, Frieza and Slug, ironically enough. I don't know why those two come to mind in particular, but those two do. And, of course, Granola instant transmissions away and dodges it. Like, I mean, instant transmission is a really good move, especially when you're able to utilize it properly against someone. But, man, like, y'all got other techniques, or at least you should. Like, Granola, throw a barrier at him or something. No, I'm kidding. But, like, there are other things you could be doing. Like, this fight, for being essentially Cell versus Cell, ironically enough, it's kind of not necessarily bland, but these guys just don't seem to be doing that much with it. Like, Granola's kicking around rocks, not Granola. Gas is kicking around rocks, and they're blasting between rocks and so on and so forth. I do like what Granola does here, though, because like Granola using the properties of a Kai and how like destroying something causes a big explosion. He dashes around all the rocks, puts them up in an area around Gas, and it's like minefield, and they're all Hakai minefields. I think that's pretty darn cool. Sure, is it effective at all? Heck no, of course it's not, because Gas is just way stronger than Granola right now, and obviously isn't going to do much. He literally just irks and then gets smacked in the mouth, but obviously Gas is still chilling out, really. He's not necessarily taking too much damage. He's mainly just annoyed, and I guess that is what it would be like. Like, to be fair, Granola wouldn't be doing major damage because Gas is the strongest in the universe, but at the same time, it's not like Granola's going to stop fighting him, so it literally would just be ow, ow, ow. It wouldn't be anything it's weird to say, but it wouldn't be anything crazy. Like, Gas wouldn't suddenly be like like, he wouldn't be breathing heavy like he's hitting Granola. But then we get to see, and for some reason, Maki and Oil instantly lose faith in the DragonBallZ. It's just because, like, Gas isn't, he's being outskilled, I guess. He's being out-techniqued. And, I mean, it's all right. I don't know. This seems weird to me, right? Because, I mean, I guess Granola had time to train while waiting for Goku and Vegeta to arrive. But wasn't the whole narrative not, like, 2 chapters ago? Not 2 chapters ago. I think, like, 3 or 4 at this point. But, like, Granola didn't know how to fight close quarters. And now the fact that he's outskilling someone who apparently spent their entire time, like, using energy weapons, fighting close quarters, all that stuff. Like, Granola was a sniper. It's kind of weird for him to be able to, like, hop straight into close combat with someone like Gas and be able to, like, trade blows like this. I know it's not conventional close combat. Granola is definitely doing, like, a lot of keep away and a lot of, I don't know, like, he's dancing around the problem. But Gas, why don't you just absolutely dominate this man? But we see that the two are essentially trading blows. And now, I mean, I'll give Gas credit. He stuck to his word at the beginning of the chapter. He's like, I'll figure out how you use that move. And Granola's like, yeah, sure, bet. And then not a few pages later, Gas is like, okay, I figured out your every move. Bada bing, bada boom, I can track it now. And, of course, Granola's a little bit annoyed with that, but it doesn't really matter to him. Because while Vegeta's a little bit too worried, because he's like, oh no, Granola, he pulled with me and a Goku and every other character in this show, and was like, oh no, he let the fight go on too long, and now Granola's going to lose, and Gas is going to win. But, of course, doesn't really matter. Like, that. You ever read a chapter and be like, yeah, I can almost feel exactly where this is going, or at least understand the general premise, like, none of this is going to matter, and not in, like, I guess it's half in the meta way, right? Because in stories like Dragon Ball, in your common shonen, you know that one way or another, our protagonists are going to win. But, like, sometimes despite knowing that, you can get very deeply involved with the narrative, like if a character's struggling. But for some reason, the moment Gas was like, I figured out all your tricks and like got Granola with the cleanest uppercut in the world, I didn't really care because I figured nothing was going to come of it. And we see that it kind of doesn't, but in a cooler way, right? Because for some reason, I guess Jump JJK or Jump or JJJK, Jumping Jujutsu Kaisen, has just leaked into every single manga because we see Granola assault Gas with clones, and there's 1 and 2 and 3, like they're all appearing everywhere in such an extreme amounts. And I guess this is like Granola's answer to Gas is like, oh, I can see you everywhere, I can track all your moves, because now there are a whole bunch of Gases, or I see both of their names start with G. And I know one is really short and one is really, really long, but I keep messing them up. I've had conversations with my friends about the manga recently because we've been talking about it, and I will constantly switch the two up, which leads to confusion. But yeah, Gas is currently being outnumbered by Granola, but obviously this is multi-form technique and not actual good, proper clothing technique on a level of something like Majin Buu or something like that. Like, these guys are not equals. They're all much weaker than before, and while they are able to pelt... That's interesting, I wonder... They're able to pelt Gas with these shots, but the thing with that's the thing with the manga, because with the Hakai and the anime, it's like a visually different color. But we see when Granola is pelting Gas with all these things, it has like the high explosion effects, but those are also the same explosion effects for like anything whenever they make contact. So I'm not sure if he's using Hakai here or just regular blast. And I'm not sure what Granola's goal here is, right? Is he trying to kill Gas? Like, I feel like I should know that, but I'm not sure if it's clearly established. Is Granola trying to get Gas up out of here? Because if so, like, it's maybe a bit morbid, but you could just, like, shove an Akai down his throat, right? Like, what is he going to really do to stop that? I know he should be resistant to it, but I feel like that'd be a lot better than just firing regular Ki Blast at him, especially when you know for a fact he is more durable and has more raw strength than you do. You might as well resort to at least somewhat hacking him. Then we get to see that Gas picks up on the fact that, splitting yourself up in all these clones actually makes you weaker, and that's no good against someone like me. And of course, Granola lunges in with all of himself, and Gas does this. We've seen this somewhere too. I think this is something that Frieza did in the Tournament of Power anime. I don't remember him doing it in the manga, but I may just be misremembering. But like, remember the laser cage he made against Dispo? Like, Gas ends up lighting up all of his hands and just firing them out in different directions. And of course, they get every single Granola. So I guess Gas was lucky that Granola made exactly 10, or else he would probably have been punched in the mouth. And of course, Gas is like, well, I've won. All of you are dying. And it seemed I love the dual reaction here, I will admit. Like, Maki and Ora are like, yeah. Vegeta and Mahito are like, no. And Gas is like, yeah. And then Granola's like, no. And proceeds to blast Gas directly in the gut with a whole, like, see, the thing is, it kind of reminds me of the Spirit Sword, but I know it is literally just like a finger gun from Granola. And this is a really solid blast. Like, it makes Gas react pretty darn hard. But in terms of, like, seriously damaging him, let me see. It didn't really do much of anything, because Granola manages to land a hit, but he reveals that was like last of his energy. That was last resort plan. Sack the clones in order to land a big final blow on Gas himself. But obviously, if that failed, Granola was out for the count. And we see that the damage taken by Granola and this final attack was a bit too much, so hopefully Gas doesn't get back up. But then someone pops up, and of course, this someone happens to be Alec. And I thought you were specifically staying away from the battle because that line was too busted and you didn't want to get it messed up. But I guess not anymore. I guess it was just a reason that he wasn't there before. But of course, obviously, Granola's on the verge of losing. Well, not see, I keep messing it up. Gas is on the verge of losing, and obviously, if Gas loses, even with Goku, Vegeta, and Granola down for the count, it's likely, quick little heal up from Mahito, and the rest of the heaters are dead. So it probably wouldn't be in their best interest to just let Gas kick the bucket here. And we see that Alec is like, yo, homeboy, this ain't like you, dog. What's up? And I mean, that's the thing. So far, he had the one W against Granola all that time ago before Granola was the mightiest. But really, all we know Gas for is L's. He lost the fight to Granola right here, right now, in his base state. He lost the fight against Bardock all those years ago, and so far, as Gas has an inferiority, as Gas has an inferiority complex for now, you use Granola more in the past to execute jobs than Gas did. So when has Gas not really ever been like this? I don't know. I know these are new characters, so it's kind of unreasonable to expect Toyotaro or Toriyama to really give us a whole like in-depth flashback or extra details to show us what Gas's reputation was before he was the mightiest. But yeah, like things like that kind of hit a little bit less when you have no proof to the point and you're just going off by what's said and not shown. And we see that, of course, the efficacy of the Dragon Balls is being questioned again. Because Maki asks, yo, what the heck is happening here? Isn't Gas supposed to be the strongest in the universe? What happened? And Alec is like, oh, yeah, I'm spitting right now. Obviously, he's undeniably the strongest fighter. However, there's a huge factor behind that we ain't even touching yet. And what Alec does, which makes me, I'm not sure, so I still don't trust Alec, right? Especially in regards to his own family, but just in general, because he seems extra sussy. Because why would he, because so many things are weird here, right? Because we know that Trumbo comes with a cost, right? We know that you can't just make yourself the strongest just like that. Trumbo doesn't have the power to do that. So he needs something in exchange. And I'm assuming that was Gas' lifespan. One, he isn't telling Gas that, even though he's here right now. And two, without Gas's consent, while Gas is, hypothetically, I mean, to be fair, sure, he's sitting up and he's just sweating pretty badly, but he's not super damaged, but he seems to have a decent gash in his chest. He takes off what appears to be a limiter. And the thing is that I didn't notice, but all of these guys have limiters, but they're just all in different places. Maki has hers around her neck, along with the idea of Oil has one around his neck. Meanwhile, Gas has the one on his head, and Alec has the one. It's his bone chunk, okay? It's right there. You know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, I wonder. Well, I mean, I'm not even mad at it because it was a design detail that I thought was decent enough as it is, but I didn't know why there was a reason behind it. But we see that apparently these guys do have an inner instinct or like some sort of state. And what Maki clearly explains is that, one, this didn't work 40 years ago against Bardock. Like, Bardock apparently beat whatever's going to happen right here, right now. And on top of that, it seems like these guys, this isn't just a transformation unique to Gas. This is a transformation that occurs for their entire species, or at least this section of the Heaters and whatever species they have. Because what Maki says is that whenever our instinct takes over, we lose our sense of self. And this reminds me very much of like the Hikari form, essentially. The Hikari form are not necessarily a Super Saiyan state, but like a weird amplifier. Because what happens is Gas gets swole and he just goes full Broly mode. And it's cool enough. I'm not complaining. I think it's kind of neat. But at the same time, I mean, was this really the resort we need to hit to? Like, you may be rushing the process here. Like, what if this overflow of energy is just like pop Gas open? However, I guess Select figured it was worth it. And a thing to note is that Gas's horns grow out to replace the ones he'd lost with the inhibitor on. But like, I'll admit, the most interesting thing to come out of this chapter was the whole inhibitor idea, because now it makes me wonder, what do the others transformed look like, and do they have horns that just pop out of their side of their heads too? And if this is a thing that they do, how did they even create the limiters in the first place? Like, if they all are just insane, I'm assuming you're not born with your limiter, considering that, you know, you can take it off, and it doesn't seem to be a natural part of their biology. So I wonder what the whole backstory behind the Heaters is in terms of this natural instinctive state that they have. Of course, we're never going to get an answer to that because Toriyama couldn't care. But still, I'm intrigued. I'll give Toriyama that. He gave me an interesting idea. And I'll admit, I do like my Broly-ish a little bit. Like, I do like my stuff when a character just goes insane and starts to battle. And I do like how Gas goes from this like reasonably calm, sort of egotistical kind of dude to like just insane roid rage monster. Like there's nothing there anymore. Like he explodes with an electrical aura, lunges at Granola, and just starts to ragdoll him. Like he straight up Loki's him. Like not even Loki, he DBS Broly's him, because he literally grabs him by the ankle when Granola tries to escape, reels back, slams him into the ground, slams him back. Like this is just pure savagery. And I'll admit, Toyotaro can draw some pure savagery pretty darn well. And the thing is that despite not having any real, there's no skill behind what Gas is doing right now. He's literally just berserking. But obviously the massive power increase that came with this is so much to the point that Granola can't use any of his skill to keep up. Like it's just straight up raw muscle gains, creatine, like all of that. And I'm assuming this is half because Granola was super tired, and two, just because this is a decent amp. But we didn't get to see. Now, Granola was finished off pretty easily. Like, obviously, Granola didn't have much gas left in the tank, but he is currently just being stomped on. And, yeah, that's no good, because Granola's getting his head pounded in. And, thank you, Goku. What an astute estimation. Maybe Granola won't last that much longer. And of course, Vegeta asked the reasonable question, since I guess they overheard what Maki said about this not winning 40 years ago. Vegeta asked a good question of like, yo, Hito, how in the world did Bardock defeat Gas when he was like this? And Vegeta was like, yep, sorry, I was just a plot device, so I was asleep when that happened. I don't know. And of course, plot convenience. But then we get to see that when Maki goes and tries to calm down, I guess her brother, as is revealed later on. Were they always brothers? Was this like, I know they were the Heater's family, but I didn't know what their actual familiar relation was. I guess I should have assumed they were siblings, but I don't know. It didn't hit me just because of how big the gaps in ages seem to be. But notably, when Maki tries to calm him down, Gas is like, yo, let me love with you real quick. You shouldn't have even shown your faces here. And then he proceeds to slam both of them. And no offense, they should have died. Like that. Like, here's the thing, right? I know creatures within the Dragon Ball world naturally, if they can fly, if they can use ki in the first place, for some reason they have this insane amount of ki control and stuff like that. But like, he should be destroying the planet. He should be probably wiping out a star or two, if not the whole darn universe at this rate, with how powerful he is. And Maki and Oil both should have just perished immediately. Like when Granola slams his head, when Gas slams his head into a rock, the planet should have been gone. I don't know how he's under control, but not under control. But then we get to see that Alec is the only one calm that's like, yo, not gonna lie, while you two are freaking out, I do think the strongest in the universe would have a better mental grasp over himself than a Granola than a Gas from 40 years ago. And it seems like that's not entirely the case, because Gas is lunging in and just attacking random bystanders. And of course, Vegeta, being the one standing furthest in the front, gets a whole foot buried into him, and he goes flying. But once again, I don't know. These people should be dying from these things. Like, this is a base Vegeta, not no UE, not any Super Saiyan variant. This is just base Vegeta. And then somehow Goku comes out the clutch and manages to punch Gas. And I guess the PTSD hit him so hard that he remembered Bardock. And I'm not going to lie, because I'm an idiot. I saw the spoiler of this image. I saw Bardock. And for some reason, I thought before the chapter came out, I was just trying to ration so hard in my head. How did it become nighttime? Why is Goku fighting in base? And where did he get the Saiyan armor and Frieza scouter from? I can tell you verbatim, despite me focusing more on like where did the extra stuff come from. For a second, my mind flashed back to Ginyu Goku. Yeah, I'm not the sharpest spoon in the kitchen shed. I don't know why. I'm stupid sometimes. But of course, it seems like the only way you can really beat this raw, crazy muscle form of Gas is just by hitting it hard enough, because all that Gas flashes back to, maybe this isn't his defeat, but it's just something that did a lot of damage to him. But apparently the way that Bardock seemed to win was just using the, I guess, second to final Spirit Cannon and blasting Gas in the face. And Gas, see, I wonder, because Gas blocks, so I'm assuming when he flies back and like flips and rolls, he's doing that on his own. I don't think, because I know the Tournament of Power, especially in the anime, threw off all ideas of Dragon Ball power scaling. But I don't think base Goku was strong enough. Like, yeah, Goku doesn't even look like that was a reaction he expected. Because I don't think base Goku scales to Berserker Gas, alright? So when the versus battle drops, don't expect that to be coming in there. But of course, Gas slowly, through PTSD, gets control. And he slims back down, and he gets new clothes. But the thing is, his horns are still there. And they look kind of ugly on his regular state. Not gonna lie, I think the beef of his super state covered it a whole lot better. The horns do not fit with the more slim body. Like, before, the horns worked before because they were smaller. Like, they were an accessory that fit to the general structure of his head. Like, the horns are so big on his tiny state that, I mean, to be fair, I guess in his big state too, they were kind of too big for his head. But like, the general beef and girth of the big state covered the horns a bit. Meanwhile, now when he's all restrained, like, the horns just look weird. He just has 2 extra appendages, and they just don't look right. And of course, chapter ends. Now his new mission is to finish what he started. And I mean, it's cool. He uses clothes beam on himself, and yeah, that's it. I don't know. This chapter was kind of mid. And while it does give us more like interesting history of what happened with Bardock all those years ago, we have that plot point wrapped up, and also gives Granola a new challenge and Goku and Vegeta a new challenge. It's probably going to make the 3 of them team up next chapter, and they're going to fight and awaken Gas. And it's always cool to learn more about alien biology in the Dragon Ball world, or just in stories in general. I'm always happy to learn more about species that aren't human, or humans that have unique transformations to them. So it's cool. I mean, I like the chapter in some parts. It's definitely, it's like a 6 to a 7 to me. Like, there's nothing extraordinary in this chapter. As frenetic as the action was, as nice as Toyotaro draws, as gruel as I think the Berserk Gas form is, just because, you know, I'm a meathead myself, so seeing another meathead is just brain knocking together, all empty skulls banging around, so that's cool. But I don't know, there's nothing in this chapter that really hit. Hopefully Frieza shows up. Still just waiting for that, because it feels weird that like the biggest reason that everyone became the strongest just hasn't even appeared yet. Hope something happens. Hope we get some more about Alec. I don't know. We're kind of just been. It's weird to say, but like ever since like to be. No, I like Granola's heel turn. Granola's heel turn is good. I do like that part of the arc. But it feels like ever since I'd say honestly, Goku versus Granola, we've just been coasting. We've been coasting for a while now. I think was that literally like upwards of half or more a year ago at this point. So yeah, we kind of just been what feels like in limbo. So I hope something happens that actually drags my attention back into the story. Because right now I'm reading to read. But those are my thoughts on the chapter. Please tell me your thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, Patreon down below. I'd appreciate any support you give me. And thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.